Hi everyone and welcome to episode 124 of the Talk is Cheap show. We are coming to you live from the AFTV studios here in North London and I'm very excited today. We've got a great show. We've got two excellent guests lined up for you. Let me start by introducing to you first on my immediate left here. What can I say about this man that's not already been said other than that he is the resident guest, co-host, show analyst, former professional footballer, social media influencer and icon, also known as the Incredible Hulk. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Give a big digital round of applause for Curtis Shaw of Curtis Shaw TV in the house. What are you saying, bro?
Nothing, bro.
Yes, bro. What are you saying?
Yeah, good, man. You got to leave that Hulk joke alone now, man.
Until we find a better name for you, man, we've got to go with that. I like the look of the Hulk team, man. And also joining me to my far left here, I've got to say, one of my favourite AFTV personalities, Nigel through and through. He's even got the green top on. Recently back from the AFTV tour of Lagos, Nigeria. A man who is to Arsenal season tickets what Arsenal is to Champions League football. They simply chuck it away. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please give a big digital round of applause for Stricto in the house. The legendary Stricto. Like I said, one of my favourite AFTV personalities, man. Right, so we're going to get things underway. As you guys know, watch the show regular. We always start with our news and notes, just a few brief items as a introductory type of thing. So I'm going to start off. The season's done now. Premier League titles gone to Man City. Very briefly, Curtis, your thoughts on the champions?
I don't think anyone expected a twist like that on the final day. Most people thought City would just roll Villa. It was drama, to me, I think they're the best team in the league in terms of Premier League performance, their football. I think they scored 99 goals this season with no recognised striker, really. Jesus played wide at times. So 4 Premier League titles out of 5. You know, are we turning into sort of the French league a little bit here? You know, I know Liverpool and City battle for it, but, you know, 4 titles out of 5. Haaland on the way. You would imagine that's going to be 5 out of 6, but I think well deserved.
It's interesting you say that because I'm sensing a little bit of hate, not from you obviously, but a little bit of hate from seeing stuff on social media, people saying, oh, they bought another title and rare. But you know what, man, I like City, man. I'm not I've got to keep it 100. I like the way they play. I like some of the players, the manager, the whole atmosphere around the club seems positive, the owners and everything. So I'm not, you know what I mean? But anyway, I don't want to take up too much time. Stricto. Your thoughts on City winning the title?
Yeah, like you said, I like City. You know, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because I don't have any City fans like as friends. So right now, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? But the Liverpool fans, you know, have loads of them. So, you know,
I'd rather
City all day long. Do you know what I'm saying? All day long. But you know, their football is phenomenal football.
Yeah, man.
You see the mentality. You mean you go 2-0 down, final day of the season. Most teams would have crumbled.
Yeah, man.
But time and time again, they show that when they are in a hole, they can get themselves out of it. You know, 10 years ago, Aguero, their first title, and they've carried it on this season when it looked like,
they might.
What is happening here? You know, coming down from 2-0 with what was it, 14 minutes to go? And they scored 3 goals. You know, they're well-deserved champions. You know.
I agree with you, man. And like I said, they got a certain panache about the way they play. Shout out to Liverpool as well, man. Liverpool pushed them all the way. I like Liverpool too. You see, the way I look at it is, take away the banter and the so-called hate and all the rest of it. But these two teams, Liverpool and City, they're elevating the Premier League to standards that we've not seen before. So that can only be a positive for the Premier League.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's whether the likes of us can catch up, but we'll talk about that. Second news and notes I wanted to talk to you about briefly. We're starting to hear more and more rumours that Arsene Wenger is going to be given a statue outside the Emirates. Curtis, briefly, your thoughts on that?
I think he does deserve it for what he did, especially in the first 10 years. I think he changed English football, not just the direction of Arsenal. I always said I think it's a shame that he stayed so long and kind of got pushed out of the door rather than celebrated. But I think for what he did for the club, he deserves a statue. And I think they were right not to do it straight away because I think when he first left, it was a bit of a bitter, sweet feeling.
Yeah, it was.
So I think to wait a few years and give it to him. But I think it's well deserved, definitely.
Stricto, your thoughts on that? Statue for Mr. Wenger?
I actually think it should have been a stand.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually think it should have been
rather than a statue.
Yeah. I think,
interesting.
In my opinion, I think stands maybe hold more weight. You know, and then
Arsene
it kind of
Wenger
separates
style,
him from, you know, the statues of Adams, statues of Bergkamp and Henry. Give him a stand because he essentially built the house.
Yeah.
Built the house, so you know.
Yeah, you know what? That's a
would've-
good look, you know.
I would have given him a
I
stand.
Do you prefer that to the
No, I wouldn't
statue?
mind. I wouldn't mind, yeah.
That's a good
Give
look.
him,
You know.
See, this is why we got you on, man.
No, man, you know
See?
me, I'm outside my brain's outside the box.
It is, man. Anyway, nice one. Right, and the last thing I wanted to raise in news and notes, something that's been topical over the last week or two, shouldn't really have been, but it is. We find ourselves talking about it every day in the office. There's been a recent spate of pitch invasions, man. Fans running on the pitch after games and assaulting players, essentially. And now we're seeing like some of the players and managers fighting back. A la Vieira. So quickly, Curtis, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, pitch invasions always happened in football. I think it's more an indictment on society. You know, especially the younger generation now, man, is like, get a camera out and do something
Anything
crazy.
for clout, anything
you
for
know,
clout,
yeah.
man.
So
Anything
I'm not
clout.
surprised. They need to do something about it because I've said for a long time. I think.
But what can they do though?
I think last game of the season, to me, you've got to like double, treble the security and say no pitch invasion. Anyone runs on the pitch, you're getting arrested. You go to other countries, you can't do that. You know how they move over there. English security. You know how easy it is to get an SIA badge and go and do a little security at football. Man's moving out the way and saying, bro, you ain't even paying me enough to deal with that. You know what I mean? So I think,
But you know what it is? You can't really blame the stewards, bro.
no, you
because,
can't
like,
blame the stewards.
These guys are invading the pitch thousands strong. What can you do? You put your arms out like that, man, just run over you.
The alternatives are going to have to put up like nets, like how they do in other countries, to stop fans coming through. And we don't want that because part of the experience of going to games is, you know, it's so live, it's so real. Like you can see the players. You're almost, well, you are there, but you're almost on the pitch. So if you put up a net or put up any divide between the fans and the game, that's a problem. But I think just even going back what he's saying, I would say at the end of the season, just basically say to the teams, okay, cool. If there's a fan invasion, then we knock a couple points off. So the club then have to then react and take it seriously.
The only problem with all that stuff is like after the event, innit? I'm talking about how do you stop the actual invasion happening? It's literally impossible, really, isn't it? I mean, I think there was one of the clubs, I think a few of the clubs on the last day, they said, right, we're going to allocate security staff to the players so we can get them off the pitch. But then even then, you saw one of the goalkeepers got assaulted.
Liverpool put out some announcement before the game saying, you know, don't invade the pitch, blah, 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 I want to do a lap of honour. And nobody ran on the pitch at Anfield. So
you know what they need? They need that African referee that blows the whistle before 90 minutes.
Do you know what? The ref might have to go up to the captain and say, listen, 5 seconds, just stop running. Just stop running. And then I'll blow the whistle, you know what I mean?
They can say, like, until the ball goes out, right?
Next goal
Next time
wins,
the ball
man.
goes out.
Yeah, man. Just dash for the tunnel.
Hey, Stricto, this is what I said. The legendary Stricto's in the house, and he's coming up with all the solutions, man.
Proper.
You know what? We might have to get you on board with the management, man. I mean, correct over the Arsenal manager. Before we go any further, just quick super chat here from Brandon. He says, I'm just going to leave this here. Raise the standards in inverted commas. Anyone who thinks we're going anywhere with this manager is off their head. Right, we're going to get onto that, but thanks for that super chat. Looks like he might
coming
set
in
the
on
tone.
smoke.
My man's on smoke, bro. Right, okay, that's the news and notes then. Our next regular item is to review Arsenal's last game. Now, Arsenal's last game, last weekend, last Sunday, it was the last game of the season. Arsenal against a newly, how should I say, safe and hungover Everton. We needed the win because you never know what would happen with the Tottenham game. Although, let's face it, it was unlikely that Tottenham were going to mess it up. I think my boy Curtis here described it as no pressure FC. 5-1. Let's just see who the scorers were. 27 minutes, Gabriel Martinelli, penalty, 1-0 to Arsenal. 31 minutes, Eddie Nketiah. That's his 5th goal in so many games, isn't it? 2-0. Cedric pops up with a goal, 56 minutes. Van der Beek for Everton on the stroke of half-time. 3-1, you're thinking, will Everton do anything in the second half? No, they didn't. Goal from Gabriel, man. One of our top goal scorers. He got in on the act 59 minutes. Then Odegaard suddenly, after all these weeks, decides he's going to pop up and score. Arsenal 5, Everton 1. You know what? Good performance, deserved the win. Is it a little bit too late? Too little, too late? My boy Curtis, what are you saying?
Yeah, it was a strange atmosphere watching the game. Every time we scored, I kind of like, yeah, okay, we scored. Then I'm thinking, where was that goal at Newcastle? Where was that at Tottenham? You know, we were desperate for a goal in them games, and no one didn't even trouble the goalkeeper. So if you isolate the game, it was a good performance, 5 goals, 5 different goal scorers. I think Everton were kind of, you know, their heads was
They're
already...
in the pub, man.
Yeah, they're in Dubai, they're in Marbella, you know. Pickford didn't turn up, wasn't even injured.
He was probably too hungover.
Yeah, these man been celebrated. So you can only beat what's in front of you. But for me, like, it was just too little, too late. The game, the win didn't mean a lot to me, if I'm being honest.
You went to the game, Stricto.
Yeah, I was at the game.
What was the atmosphere like in the ground?
Well, for me, the lady that sat next to me, who sits next to me, Nana, her name is. Big up Nana. And she came in and she was like, "You're not smiling." The whole time. Like, even when they scored, I didn't even get up. I just sat there, kind of just quick, whatever. And she's like, and just like he said, I was like, yeah, where was this like against Brighton? Where was this against Palace? Where was this against Tottenham, Newcastle? And, you know, she was like, well, you know, a young team. And, you know, I'm tired of hearing this whole young team business because they're old enough to play in the Premier League, right? They're old enough.
You sounding like Granny Xhaka now.
They're old enough. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on him. But yeah, like, it was, for me, it was flat. It was flat, and the Everton fans, like, you know, they cheered every goal, even the Arsenal goal.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Even
they were cheering Arsenal goals. And
so it was just a party for them.
It was just a party. It was almost pre-season, like, if I'm being honest. It was a pre-season atmosphere. Nothing mattered. You knew Tottenham were gonna do their business. You know, under Conte, Harry Kane, Son chasing the top goal scorer. So you knew, unless it was a Spurs, he turned up. But you knew they were going to do what they were going to do. I mean, Norwich...
I predicted that they would win 4-0. In the end, they won 5-1.
Yeah,
so that kind of tells you what people were thinking.
So, yeah, that's...
But, yeah, I sensed from you guys what I was feeling, which was, yeah, we won the game, but overall, there was a palpable sense of disappointment.
Of course.
Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean,
yeah, man, at the end of the day, like you said, where was this when we really needed it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the feeling. I couldn't help but feel that way, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure a lot of the fans are, oh, yes, you know. What was the scenes like at the end, you know, when they did their lap of honours?
I actually stayed, surprisingly, to kind of see it.
Surprised you didn't throw your season ticket.
Yeah, I know. It's on my phone now.
You can take that.
I can't dash my phone.
Yeah, he's got it on his phone.
I can't dash on my phone.
No, it's different.
So, it was, you know, I think most people appreciate the effort of the team. Most people kind of thought, okay, cool. From the start of the season till now, you know, the team have got to where they got to. Only 4 teams are above them. Two out of those 4 teams are phenomenal teams, and over 2 are London rivals. But I think everyone kind of just cheered them for how young they were. But I saw Lacazette, funny enough, waving. Like a goodbye wave. Because usually there's that walking around the handshake thing, but he kept doing that a few times.
I'm gone.
I said, I'm out of here, man.
I'm out of here, you know. So
I'm
going Champions League. That's what he's trying to do.
You know.
So where do you think he'll go, though?
Probably back to France, right? He's been linked with clubs in Spain, Italy. When you're a free transfer,
you'll get work.
You'll get a deal.
Yeah, you'll get work.
You'll
get work. Yeah.
So did you feel the same way? Palpable sense of disappointment?
it was just too little too late. I know, like you're saying, they're the young team. And do you know what? I've said before that I think the actual team have done all right this season, as crazy as that sounds with what I've said, because I don't actually think we're that good a team. You look on paper, we're finishing the game with Cedric, Holding, Xhaka, El Neni, Eddie and Nketiah. You're not really likely to get in the Champions League with that team. I actually think the failure has come from the management and above because they should have reacted, you know, as a club with ambition. So. But yeah, like you said, this whole young squad thing, you know, you created that. You then can't say, feel sorry for me
because we're young.
We'll talk about that anyway.
We will,
sure,
well, good. And that kind of brings us nicely to what I want to talk about. So, you know, we are where we are. The league don't lie. We missed out on the Champions League places, but we did finish 5th this season compared to 8th the previous 2 seasons. So there is some progress there. However, some people deem it as a measure of failure also, because let's face it, man, with a few weeks ago, we were pole position for that 4th place, and for whatever reason, we discombobulated and we didn't get it. So I'm here to ask these guys now, the aftermath, what's next for Arsenal? So in doing so, summarise the season in a few words. Stricto, what do you think overall, your overall assessment?
Overall assessment, yes, there has been progress from 8th to 5th, but the concerning issue is we didn't play that many games this season, and we still didn't manage to secure Champions League football. So some say, all right, we're back in Europe, but I don't want to be. Thursday night thing is dragged on too long.
You want more than that?
Yeah, I wanted more than that, especially like you said, the position we were in. So you say in the beginning of the season, if you'd have given us 5th, would have chopped your arm. No, I wouldn't have, because I don't like 5th. I don't even like 4th.
No, but be honest though, at the start of the season, cast your mind back to the start of the season, August last year now. So are you honestly saying that you expected to finish in the top 4?
No, it's not about what I expected. Like, you know, when you support a club like Arsenal with a history like that we've got, the class, we should be in, okay, put it like this, how far we've fallen. We never used to win the Champions League. We used to be in it. Now we can't even get in it. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So at the start of the season, okay, cool, but the point is we're not at the start of the season.
So let me ask you, are you glass half full or glass half empty?
Half empty.
Half empty.
Yeah,
interesting.
half empty. That's as real as I can
I think I know what's coming. Curtis, your overall thoughts on the season very briefly, and finish off by saying whether you're glass half full or empty, but I think I pretty much
no glass.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a glass there, but no, for me, listen, one thing I will say is I think the young players have done well this season. Yeah. That is the positive of this season. I think at times we've probably put too much pressure on them. But for me, just a huge missed opportunity, because I just think next season it's going to get even more difficult. It's going to get more difficult. You've got 4 or 5 managers there that you would say are ahead of Arteta. We're not going to outspend a lot of these teams. And even if we do, can we attract the level of players that we need to bridge that gap? So to me, it's a bit of like so close yet so far, because I think we should have got 4th this season. And I don't know if we're going to get an opportunity like that.
You're right, because I think Man United, I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were this season, next season. Tottenham are probably going to spend some money and get a little bit better, you know what I mean?
World-class manager as well.
Champions League football.
And like you said, they've got the manager there who's, you know what I mean, he looks like he's buying into their project. And they look like they're going to go from strength to strength. I'm just saying it. I don't like the sound of it, but the truth is the truth. You've already got City and Liverpool, as I said, they're elevating the standards. They're not going to fall away. If anything, they're going to get better. I mean, City have just signed Haaland. So they're going to be a better team next season for sure. Liverpool, we know that they're looking. They've made a signing recently, the guy from Fulham.
Carvalho.
So yeah, man, we're up against it. And then, listen, man, Newcastle, they beat us a few weeks ago, comfortably. And they're going to spend money. And they've got a good manager. I've been impressed with Eddie Howe. So, yeah, man, then you look at Leicester even. I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were next season.
I mean, yeah, like you said, the other teams are going strength by strength. And let's not also forget, like, if you look at the season as a whole, I think we were in a false position. Because now that the smoke has settled, we would have just ended up in Europa anyway, via Champions League, as opposed to via 5th. You know, because I don't think the squad is ready. I know he has reservations on on the manager. You know, I've had reservations on the manager, but I think I've
given up.
Sometimes I've kind of not cared. But like other teams, our strength, like Newcastle, are going to be.
They're going to go for it.
They're going to go for it.
They could be Man City or Chelsea in 2-3 years.
Exactly.
And I missed out Chelsea. They've had their problems this season, as we all know. At the time of recording this show, they're about to get taken over.
Yeah.
The strong rumours are they're going to get taken over this week.
Yeah.
And the person who's leading that takeover has already said he's fully committed financially and everything else. So they'll probably be a different animal next season as well. Yeah. I'm not saying that Arsenal cannot make the top 4 next season, but I am saying it's probably going to be more difficult next season than it was this season. Is that fair to say, guys?
Yeah, definitely agree.
For sure.
Right, so, okay, so let me ask you, let's go through some of the highlights. What was your highlight of the season, would you say, off the top?
Highlight of the season?
Yeah. In terms of performance.
I think the Chelsea game, I was at Stamford Bridge. I didn't expect it, especially coming off of the defeats we had. And for me, yeah, man, like, you know, that was a great performance by the team.
Curtis?
Do you know what? I'd probably go North London Derby at home.
Yeah.
You know, I know they had chances, they came back into it, but the quality of them 3 goals that we scored, we ripped them apart in the first half. You know, I won't mention. He's already looking at me. Right?
This guy,
and I can read his eyes. He's
going to mention
he's about to say
I can already tell.
But
you know, I'm trying my hardest not to bring that man up.
Yeah, no. But
because if I do, I might start sounding like Piers Morgan. And I don't want anyone coming after.
I love that performance.
Yeah.
You know.
I would concur with that, man. That for me, that was by far the most exciting moment of the season. A performance, incidentally, which caused our boy Toby, shout out to Toby, to walk out of the Emirates at half time. Tottenham fan, Toby, walking out in disgust at his team after we just slapped them. But yeah, low lights of the season. Performance where you thought, nah, man, this is simply not good enough. There was probably a few actually.
I'm just thinking, I don't know how long we're going to be on.
But which one for you stands out? Because we got to be honest, man, there were a few bad performances. There were some good ones, but there were some bad ones.
Man, they were all kind of the same, innit?
There's a few.
They were all kind of.
Do you know what? For me, I'll probably go Newcastle, because I think that, like, that was, even though there's other ones, that was still the one where you can rescue it. If we would have got something out of that game, Everton weren't great. We would be sitting here now in the Champions League. I just thought we went to Newcastle and just did absolutely nothing. And it's not like we were playing against world beaters. So I'd go Newcastle.
I'd go Brighton, you know.
Would you?
Brighton at home.
Yeah.
Brighton at home. A team you'd want to play, like, at home on your rally, on your campaign. And it was the flattest performance I'd ever seen. And I know, okay, cool, towards like the last 10 minutes, we kind of tried things, but the whole performance from minute 1 to the 80th was absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. You know what I'm saying? And you think to yourself, even if we'd have got a point in that game, that could have, you know, swayed things towards the end of the season. But I think I'll go for that Brighton game.
For me, flat. If the highlight was Tottenham, the low light was also Tottenham. Because for me, I just think that the Tottenham performance was woeful. We turned up there. We didn't even have to win that game, bro. We just needed to avoid defeat. And I know I say it's not as simple as that. I get that, but it was the manner of the way we just fell apart. For me, it was unacceptable. In a game of that magnitude, the whole world watching, when you consider what was at stake. I know it was away to Tottenham. It was always going to be a difficult game, but we contributed to our own downfall. You know what I mean?
That was bottle.
The penalty, because let's be honest, man, it was a penalty. Cedric, he didn't jump. He puts his elbow up like that. Yes, it was a bit soft, but you give the referee a decision to make in the cauldron that is the Tottenham Stadium at that time.
Red card.
You know what I mean? That shows a lack of mental awareness, and you know what I mean. And then what Rob Holding did a few minutes after that, and then after that, we just
game done.
Yeah,
to me, the season in a way kind of disintegrated after that, because if you think about it, that lack of performance against Tottenham led into the Newcastle game. Yeah. They simply didn't recover mentally in time, and we got walked on by Newcastle. So for me, the Tottenham game,
I think it started from Leeds. The mentality started from Leeds, where you're playing against 10 men and letting them back into the game. A team that hasn't scored in how many, and then boom, against us. And literally, they could have got equalised. We were hanging on.
Yeah.
But you know what's so disappointing for me, though, is because, like I said, the eyes of the world were on that game. We all said, we had a show the week before that, and I remember saying to Kurtz, I goes, you know what, I'm so looking forward to this Tottenham going forward. We're going to see who's about that life. You know what I mean? And I was bigging them man up saying, you know what I mean? Now we're going to see who's up for it, who wants to smoke. None of them. And to see them just disintegrate like that. For me, seriously, man, I just found that hard to take.
Yeah.
I never necessarily thought we would win the game. And there was a possibility we could lose the game because Tottenham were in form, they were at home. But it was the manner of the defeat, bro. I just thought, nah.
It's definitely a lot easier to have to draw than have to win. Or not have to lose. It's a lot easier to not have to lose than, do you know what I mean? And we didn't even have a chance. The red card just took it away from us. That just took it away.
And that was self-inflicted because he didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that. Right, so player of the season, Stricto.
Woo! Do you know, I think there's three
I wouldn't have thought
candidates.
there's too many candidates.
I think
There are
there's-
some
I think
obvious
there's-
candidates.
I think
Narrow
there's
it
three
down.
candidates.
Narrow it down. Who you
I
going
think
for?
Bukayo, he's carried the team again. And I think Ramsdale, like, just based on the fact no one expected Ramsdale to perform. Obviously, I know he faded towards the end of the season. And then Odegaard, you know, who has shown glimpses of class player, you know. So, oh man, it's between the three of them, to be honest with you. It would have to be a coin toss to be. I'll give it to Saka.
Saka?
Yeah.
I've got no arguments with that. Although I'm willing to listen to other offers. Curtis?
I think I'll go with Ramsdale.
Ramsdale, that's
yeah,
interesting.
because you know what? When we signed him, I was not for that
Yeah, I
signing.
remember that.
You know, I'd seen him a few times. I thought, why are we spending so much money on him? But I do think he has taken us to another level in terms of what he does on the ball, his communication skills, which I don't think Leno communicates well with the back four. And I just think he's a character as well. He's one of them players that if Ramsdale didn't play for Arsenal, we wouldn't like him. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think sometimes you need players like that where you think, I can't stand that guy. He's waving at the fans. He's a bit of a wind-up merchant. But I think at times Arsenal have lacked character, and I think he is a character. And I think he's had a very good first season. I know he has faded a little bit, but I think the defensive, you know, losing defenders, and we started conceding more goals and more chances. But I think he's had a very good first season. He's in the England squad.
I can see that. I mean, certainly he's emerged as a character that, you know, all the fans kind of rallied behind. He kind of fell off a little bit towards the end of the season, I thought. But, you know what, I wouldn't really, I'm not going to hate on that. For me, I would go with Saka. I think he kind of spearheaded that younger player revolution that we had that, you know, let's face it, carried the team at times. And he also fell off a little bit towards the end. Fatigue, yeah. And listen, there's a lot of expectation on those young guys. But I think overall, I would say, and when you consider as well his exploits for England as well, he had that disappointment of the abuse of the fans and that, and then he come back strong. So yeah, man, I'll go for Saka. Right, flop of the season. Let's start with Curtis on that. And again, there were a few.
That's a tough one because.
Let me go.
Go on.
Let me go.
Go on. If you got one, yeah.
Let me go.
And why?
Vinay Edu.
Right, I see.
You're being clever there. I like that.
Vinay and Edu. January.
Good point.
I think January, if you look at the difference January's made to teams who were active in January, you think about Newcastle, where they were pre-January and where they are at the end in May. Think of Tottenham, where they were in January and where they are in May, and how key January was. And for that extra push that might have, you know, secured that Champions League spot, you think about Partey, El Neni going away for African nations. You think about getting rid of your boy, Aubameyang, and not replacing him with anyone.
Right.
And then we're sitting here, 5th. January had a big part to play in it. And Edu and Vidal, whatever, they are the flops of the season, hands down.
Wow.
I agree with that. I would just.
You know what? My man's coming up with some real
he's
gems.
He's thinking outside the box. I like it.
I think they need to get you on
Do you know what was
board,
good,
bro.
right? Because you know when you asked that question, you caught me off guard. I was like, right. And then he came in. I said, yeah, man, you saved me there still. I agree with that answer. I would also put the manager in that category. Though. I think you have to. Because you look at Conte when he was having meltdowns. Remember when they lost to Burnley, he said that, I don't know if I can continue here. I believe he did that to back that board into a corner and say, listen, if you don't back me, I'm going.
Threatening to leave and all
now,
that type
I'm
of
hearing
stuff.
Arteta say in the press conference after Everton, yeah, but I saved wages in January. Now that to me tells me the role that you're playing at this football club. You're happy to be here. So what the Kroenkes tell you, you're going to take that. Where a top manager's going to say, you better back me or I'm gone. Because I need players. And like you said, Diaz came into Liverpool. They were chasing 4 trophies. Spurs got Kulusevski and Guimaraes went to Newcastle. And those teams all pushed on with them signings. We didn't sign anyone. West Ham, all the teams that didn't really sign have suffered. And I think you're right. January was a massive, probably cost us the Champions League.
And then even if you just add into that, if you think Arteta was given another 3-year contract by Edu and Vina, and you know, he's done nothing to earn it yet. Okay, cool. You know,
are we being a little unfair to at the risk of awarding myself the cap for capping? Are we being a little unfair to the manager here? Because you're kind of comparing him with Conte. Some people would say that's a little unfair. Conte's like knee deep in the game, massive reputation. It's a whole different dynamic. Whereas Arteta's a younger guy, starting out his first real gig, and he's having to kind of learn on the job a little bit. So some of those nuanced things that Conte can pull out the bag, Arteta's not really there yet in terms of experience and stuff.
Listen, I've said this in my fan cams plenty of time. It is criminal to be 4 points clear, 3 games to go. It is criminal. I don't care what experience you have. There's a cushion that most top teams just don't let go of these cushions. Do you understand? We built those cushions. There was a point where I think we had 3 games in hand, and a point above the teams who had 3 games in hand over. And then you get to this point where you're 3 games to go, and it's in your hands. Like I don't think it's being unfair. I think you gotta be realistic.
No, I'm just trying to
put some balance on things. You gotta be realistic and think like, okay, cool. It's your first big gig, or it's your first gig. In fact, it's not even your first. It's your first gig. You've got to that position. Now you've got to manage it. We didn't have to go win at Tottenham. We didn't have to. We probably didn't even have to go lose at Newcastle either. Maybe a point would have been all right. And then
that's why I anointed that game as my most disappointing game, because, like I said, that was where, to me, everything fell apart. But listen, I'm not going to let you get off the hook, man. I want some players that, for you, flopped. Pure and simple, just didn't measure up.
I think the easiest one is you got to look at our record signing, Pepe. But then you also got to say he wasn't really given a chance. There was times when we were crying for Pepe to come in, and he would, choose Nketiah to come out and play out wide. So he wasn't given a chance. Granit Xhaka, who's I won't lie, is the easiest go-to.
But I think it's fair that he had a decent season.
He had a better season.
Yeah.
I think also Granit Xhaka, I think, his level, or the level's so low that anything outside of that is good.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? The level.
Clearly not a fan. You sound like you've been talking to Kurt.
No, honestly.
It's not difficult. You're the only one who defends it.
All he's got to do is not get sent off. that is the level.
That's a good game for a minute.
That is the level. What he's got to do is not get sent off. But he's managed to, not do that a lot this season and give away goals or pens. So, but flop of the season, it's not his fault. But everyone's probably going to hate me for this. Teeny. Can't stay fit.
I think you're being a bit hard.
Can't stay fit. Yeah. Every little thing is out. We need this guy. He can't stay fit. He came in injured, end of the season injured.
He's just been pulled from the Scotland squad as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's not been a good time for him.
It's not his fault.
Curtis, my man, flops of the season, or flop of the season.
It's a good one. It's a good question. I think the Pepe argument's a little bit difficult because he's been poor, but I believe he's only started like 5 league games this year. So if you was his agent, you'd be like, well, what's he supposed to do? But at the same time, there's been a lot of games he's come off the bench and you're like, brother, is that it? Like 72 million, what? No wonder Raul got sacked, because some serious things were going off in that deal. How we paid that much money for him, but he's been disappointing. I think Xhaka, people say Xhaka's had a better season for him. It's still not at the level. that is required. You know, he's still got 11 yellow cards, he's still got 2 reds, still gave away a penalty against City at home, got sent off City away, sent off at Liverpool away.
Leeds.
He's still not good enough, man. Like, he's been at his ceiling for a long time, and I think, you know, you've got to upgrade on him in the summer.
You know what? I'm going to have to go with that, to be honest, as much as I don't like to, because, listen, man, I like Pepe. I believe in the guy. I think he's got ability. I don't believe he's been given the opportunities to produce his talent. But having said that, when you consider how much he's cost the club, and like you said, Curtis, when he has come on, invariably, he's not produced at the level that you would expect a guy of his talent to produce, then it pains me to have to say this one going to have to go with Pepe. But again, I want to qualify it by saying I believe in the guy. I think that if he leaves Arsenal, which it looks very likely that he will do, he'll probably go on and have a very successful career elsewhere. Because let's face it, before he came to Arsenal, man, a lot of people were talking about this guy. And I've seen when he played for Ivory Coast in the AFCON, he tore it up for those couple of games, man. So I believe in the guy. It's not been successful from Arsenal, but I'm sure he will make a success of himself if and when he moves on. Right. Okay, right, so you know what? Now, I've got something slightly different that I'm going to do this week. And I'm going to preface it by saying that we all know that recruitment and retention is a big part of any club's continued success or failure. So now we're going to play a little game now. Okay. Yeah? So I brought my little board here. We're going to play a little game. So what I've got on my list here is the list of the current Arsenal squad members for this season. And I'm going to go through each one. And you can tell me whether you would recruit, which is, you know what I mean, get rid of, or retain, keep. Yeah? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So we're calling this recruit or retain. So let's start with the goalkeepers. And like I said, this is the season done now, so we're projecting forward, like I said. So would you keep them, or with that position, would you look to recruit? So first one up, Aaron Ramsdale, goalkeeper.
Yeah, you keep him.
Keep him, yeah, agreed. Bernd Leno.
I would keep him, but I think he will want to leave. Yeah. I think he'll want to go.
And the other goalkeeper is a guy called Arthur Okonkwo. Now that sounds Nigerian. Do you know that?
He's a Nigerian boy.
Yeah, he's a young boy.
Yeah.
What do you know? I don't really know too much about this guy, man.
No, I don't. I've never. I
think he played pre-season in Scotland, didn't he? One time. Yeah. Hibernian Rangers. He's a young player.
He's
So he'll probably be retained, wouldn't he?
Yeah. We've got that
Turner coming from America.
Is it America? From America,
yeah. Right, moving on. Defenders. This will be interesting. Kieran Tierney. Recruit or retain? Recruit.
He can't stay fit. He can't.
That's what you tell it.
What's the point?
I know.
But you know what? Jordan was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he had a very similar mindset towards Tierney. He was like, you know what? This injury thing's starting to become a bit of a liability now.
My only problem with Tierney, if you sell him, I think you've got to buy 2 left backs, because I don't think Tavares.
Nah, Tavares isn't the answer.
So then. I get what you're saying, but I'd probably give him 1 more year and buy a better left back to challenge him.
I think if you buy a better left back to challenge, it wouldn't be much of a challenge, because he's not fit.
He's missed 50 games in 3 years.
By the way, I'll just read out a super chat here. Luke Gallier. Wenger deserves credit for giving us bragging rights to winning the league at Spurs and the Invincibles. Statue worthy? I think so. E. Ross, here we go. Arteta's lawyer. I think he's referring to me. This is interesting. Dean the Goonaroo. Lacazette is flop of the season for sure. He hasn't scored a lot of goals, but I think he's played his part in terms of contribution, leadership, and
I think the expectation was fairly low anyway of Lacazette. So
that's a super chat. Right, so you said recruit to that position. Yeah. You're saying retain, yeah?
Yeah, I keep him. Right, keep or sell. This recruit thing's confusing me.
Yeah, because I thought
recruit is signing keep or sell.
Keep or sell. Okay. So Ben White.
I'm 50-50.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, I'm
because he was a big money signing.
Realistically, you've got to keep him because you've only just bought him. Yeah. But I'm not a big fan of him.
Wow.
No, I'm not sold on him either.
Really? Why is that? Why?
I get some of his qualities. You know, he's a ball player. You know, but I just think sometimes, like when you're on the deep And like there's a difference between him and Gabriel. Like, you know, Gabriel puts it about, and I think he's a bit different. You know, and at times, you know, I think about some of the games that we lost. He's not directly contributed to goals, but they have come from his side. He's still young, you know. He can still grow. But honestly, I'm not sold, and especially the money. If you're talking about Pepe being a flop because of the money we paid for him, we paid 50 mil for this guy. You know, I kind of expect a bit more from him.
Definitely.
Right, I'm going to have to, I've been told by my production team here that time is running, so we're going to have to keep it moving. Right, Gabriel.
Yeah, keep.
Agreed?
Definitely.
Okay. Rob Holding.
Sell.
So?
Dash him like the season ticket. Man. I thought he was Vieira and doing a Vieira on him.
Yeah, he's out here, man. Cedric.
Oh, sell.
So?
So.
He didn't even need to say that. He was just shaking his head.
Tomiyasu.
Keep. Yeah.
Keep. Nuno.
I'll probably loan him. I'll probably loan him.
Loan him out.
Yeah, I know that's a bit there, but I just go and develop and see what he's like in a year. If he don't get much better, you just get rid of him. I wouldn't keep him.
Very raw.
Yeah.
But he's got that energy. Right. You know, that sometimes going forward, he's brilliant at that, but his decision making is shocking.
His decision making is tough. But I mean, that can be worked on, hopefully. I mean, listen, that's why you got a manager there for. He's supposed to bring through the young guys, right? So that was the defenders. Now we're moving on to the midfielders. Thomas Partey came to the club with a big fanfare. Some people say, whilst he's been good, he's not actually delivered up to the level of expectation. He's also had his injury concerns. Stricto. West African.
I don't know whether it's because he's. Yeah, you're right. He hasn't performed to the level we've expected.
I like him, but some people have said, Laurie, man, you know what I mean? He's not really lived up to his best.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't.
But would you keep or sell?
I think you'd keep him.
Keep him. Curtis?
Definitely keep him. You need to put a better midfield partner next to him to see the best of him. But he is injury prone as well.
Yeah.
But I would keep him.
Saka, I think that's fairly obvious.
Saka, keep.
Odegaard.
Keep.
Yeah, you keep him.
I'm keeping
Keep him. Yeah.
But I want to see a bit more from him.
Right. Okay. Emil Smith-Rowe.
Yeah,
Keep him. Yeah. Lokonga. This is an interesting one. Some people have not been overly enthused.
So
I don't really rate him.
You don't think he's going to make the grade?
Maybe loan him as well. I think he just, I'm not convinced.
No.
I'll sell.
You would sell him?
I'll tell him. I'll tell him. Let's not waste time.
Brutal in his assessment there. Mohamed El Neni. This is an interesting
I know what
one.
he's going to say. Remember last time? He was waving the flag around. Jeez.
Mohamed El Neni.
You might.
That's your guy, man.
That's my guy.
I know you're answer.
I'm keeping him.
I would have let him go, personally.
It's one of them where I think he's, in terms of what he's done this season, he deserves a new contract. But as my man Curtis has articulated in the past, is he really what we're aspiring to if we're going to look to go to that next level?
Has he really earned a new contract? He didn't play until about March.
But you
would have let him go before that.
When we needed him, he stepped up. There was a point where we haven't even missed Thomas Partey because of how. Listen, I'm not saying you start El Neni every week, but for situations where Partey's gone injured or whatever, he's stepped up. You need a good. I think he's a good squad player. I'm not saying he's a good starter, but he's a good squad player. And he doesn't mind being a squad player.
Well, that's a fair argument, but I would have let him go.
And last but not least of the midfielders, well, my opinion, Granit Xhaka.
I think I agree with whatever he says. I agree with what he says.
Where's that season ticket?
Don't need it.
Dash him. Just dash him, man.
Yeah,
that story's over.
I think I know what my man's going to say. What's Nigerian for dashing with?
I don't want to say because mine's you're gonna get some complaints. So let's dash way, as you lot say in Jamaica. Get rid of him.
Yeah, that's fairly conclusive. That's the midfielders. Forwards. So we spoke about him earlier. He's been labelled flop of the season by one of our super chat contributors there. Lacazette.
Oh yeah, he's gone.
He's gone. I mean, he's pretty, like you said, he's waving to the crowd after the game. He's pretty much gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone. Nicolas Pepe.
Yeah.
Would you keep faith with him?
I'll be honest, I would.
You would?
Yeah, I think you can see.
I don't think it's going to happen, but you would.
You can see his quality. I think the problem he lacks is he hasn't had consistency, whether with his opportunities or with sometimes the way he plays. I get frustrated with him because I feel like he can do a lot more damage going in behind, but he always likes the ball to feet. And I think like defenders have clocked that. You know, they'll let him do the dancing, but I think he can be coached. So yeah, I'll keep him.
Eddie Nketiah.
No, I didn't answer.
I'm
Pepe.
sorry.
No, with Pepe, I like Pepe, but I think with Arteta as manager, you've got to sell him. I just don't think them two add up. I don't think it works.
Yeah,
his value is just getting lower and lower. So,
I think Arsenal need to cash in now, man. Because another season of this,
he's going
they'll
for
be giving
peanuts.
him away. So I do agree with that. Moving on swiftly, Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah, for me, I'd let him go. I don't think he's Arsenal level. I think we need 2 new strikers. And listen, he's done well towards the end of the season, but I think if we're trying to get in the Champions League, man, I just don't think Eddie's the answer.
I agree. I pretty much copy that.
And Martinelli?
Well, come on, that's key.
That's key. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, look, by and large, I would agree with most of that. There are a few players there that you've identified as going. So, to keep it brief, how many players do you think we need to bring in?
I think probably 6 or 7 at least. Because bear in mind, next season you can have 5 subs off the bench. Right. You've also got Europa League football. We're going to have more injuries and suspensions and fatigue than this year. I mean, yeah, you may be looking 7, 8, but...
What's your key area? Like, where would you first...
For me, first position, you've got to get a striker. Because that market is very poor at the moment. Like, players are having one good season, they're talking about 70 million. So you're gonna have to get a striker in before everyone else starts trying to get strikers. You've got to get a midfield partner for Thomas Partey. You can't leave him with Xhaka for another year. He needs a better midfielder. And then, are you bringing Saliba back? I hope Saliba comes back because I think he could be better than Ben White. But and then, you know, fullback areas like you've said, Tierney. There's a number of positions, man.
So you're saying like pretty much right through the spine of the team?
Yeah, the spine's not good enough. Yeah, it's not strong enough.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think also like we need to bridge the gap between those on the bench and those starting. If you look at like how City, you know, City are take this guy off, this guy comes, and you don't actually see a difference. You know, I think we've got to go in the market to either find better players, better squad players, or better starting 11s. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, you know, I kind of
finally, the manager. Do you think we can get Champions League football with this manager in charge? Do you have faith in him? Stricto.
After the season, you have to think it doesn't get. If you don't get it, the season that we've had, if you don't get it now, or if you didn't get it then, bearing in mind everyone else, no one wanted the top 4. Nobody wanted the top 4 position, and you've less games, this cushion that I spoke about, and he blew it. If he can't do it now, I kind of doubt he can do it. You know, Newcastle are going to come into the into that top bracket of teams. You know, I'm not confident in him.
Curtis, I think we know what's happening.
You know my opinion, man. Like for me, he's had the best opportunity I think he's ever going to have. You know, a lot of teams didn't spend big money last year. We spent more than anyone in Europe. Like you said, it was the 4th place no one wanted, and we still couldn't get it. So for me, I've said before, I don't think he will get a top 4.
Right, so it only befits me to start capping.
Here we go.
The AFTV. You know what it is? I would say I do have my reservations about this manager, but you know what? I'm going to try and be fair to him. Like, so at the start of the season, no matter if the club want to go public, I know they've not gone public about what their targets were. I would have thought at the very least their target would have been European football. I think the fact that he's got that means to me he should keep his job. And I'm saying if we can bring the right type of players in, I think he has to learn from his mistakes that he's made this season. There will have to be some player recruitment and letting players go. But I think there is a chance. It is going to be harder, but I'm going to try and keep faith with him. How's that? I'm going to try and end on a positive note.
Put your cap on, man.
Yeah.
Put your cap back on.
Capping season, bro.
Capping season,
It's capping
man.
season. You see that? I'm capped.
Do you know what? We weren't fully convinced by the way you were saying that.
No, but you know what it is? We have to try and be positive, though.
No, I get it. I get it.
Because he's not going to get
We've
sacked.
also got to be realistic.
He's not going to get sacked.
He's not.
So we have to put our faith in him and the board that they learn from the mistakes that happened this season I'm going to say, I didn't want to say it earlier, I thought that the Aubameyang thing was a mistake. If you were going to get rid of him, you should have brought somebody in. I think that we weren't scoring enough goals, and we still ain't. And I think that was one of the key areas that, you know, we fell short in. But, you know, I'm hoping that he's going to learn from these things. The Saliba situation as well is something that needs to be addressed. So if we can learn from those mistakes, and he does seem, for whatever you want to say about him, he seems like a real football nut. He seems obsessed with the game, seems intelligent, articulate, all the rest of it. Now he's got to use these next few months, with the seasons come to a close, analyse what went wrong, what went right, and come again, because like I said, them other killers will be out there. Yeah. So he's going to have to step his game up. But I do think that there is enough goodwill in the club for him to show next season.
I think, honestly, like, I don't know, I think Curtis has held a pretty strong position with him all through the season. I think I've adjusted my positions with him so many times. He's there for another season, at least, you know. So I'll get behind him, and hopefully, you know, he can prove a lot of us wrong. Because if he does that, then it means that we're in a good place.
Curtis, final word from you.
No, listen, I agree, and I can talk about Arteta going until the cows come home. He ain't going nowhere. They've got to sign the right players. They've got to convince good players to come and believe in this project. I think we need experience. You can't. I don't want to keep hearing about the youngest squad. That just gets boring after a while. Get some leaders. Sign a captain, because I don't think there's an obvious captain in this team. Like, seeing Odegaard as captain just doesn't work for me. So, and get some goal scorers, man. You got to score more goals. So, it's all about recruitment, and we'll see. We'll see what they do.
Well, listen, thanks, guys. I've really enjoyed the show. Really had enjoyed you coming along. My boy Stricto here, man. The man with the how do we put that? The lateral thinking, man. You know what I mean? He thinks on a different level, which is great. Great to see and great to hear. Thanks very much, bro, for coming on. Tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, people, come on, look at this. Yeah, people, make sure you go on my YouTube. I'm trying to be on his level of things.
45k subs, man.
Cheese.
You get there, man. You get there.
You know, so find me on Strict on YouTube, and on Insta, BH_Stricto. I think pretty much if you type in Stricto now.
I just want to endorse my man. He's one of the most entertaining AFT, one of my personal favourites. And it's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
And of course, our legendary man in the house here, Mr. Curtis Shaw from Curtis Shaw TV. Tell the people where they can find you on social media for the 124th time.
There you go, you said it, man. Curtis Shaw TV, every day, people, every day.
And I want to say big shout outs to all you guys, man. Without you guys, we'd be nothing here. So thank you very much for your support throughout the season. We're truly blessed for that. We hope you to continue to support us. We want to keep the show interactive, so let us know your thoughts on what we spoke today, the aftermath, where we go from here, our recruit and retain game. What did you think of that? Who would you keep? Who would you sell? Who would you let go? The manager? Do you think he's up for the task for next season? The jury's out on it. But listen, thank you very much for your support. Speak to you next week.